soul man.
Hey YouTube family, my name is Alina and this is Truly Being with Alina, a place for those who are ready to learn, grow, while I inspire you to become the person that you envision for yourself. Alright y'all, so we're going to pick up where we left off, discovering self and who are you. This is part 2 of that section. So today we're going to start with what are your weak and strong points, and whether you're willing to work at strengthening your weak points as well as continuing working on your strengths so that way they remain. So when it comes to your weak points, you need to identify what are your weak points. Let's say for instance, some of your weak points are, so give an example. My weak points, one of my biggest weak points is math. I cannot do math. I suck at math. That was one of my weakest things that I couldn't really conquer, and I still haven't really conquered math. Communication as well. I can communicate pretty well, but I don't like confrontation, so sometimes I'll choose not to communicate when there are times where I need to be communicating, but I avoid so because I don't care for confrontation. So basically you need to be able to identify what are my weak points. Okay, once you identify them, say like I said, hey, math is one of mine. Communication. You need to either start for math. You can, like I said, go get a tutor, somebody to teach you and help you strengthen your math skills. Like I said, I got a tutor, and Lord, it just confused me all over again. But that was me. So that was me. I think that was me and my ADHD not being able to focus because it was so hard for me. But like I said, for that, you would seek out getting a tutor, somebody to help you build your math skills, make you more confident in what you're doing, show you different ways to solve a problem. Because with math, there's so many different ways to solve one problem, and that was always my issue. It was so confusing to me because it's like, okay, I can solve a problem this way, that way, this and a third. For me, that's confusing. For others, that's simple, but not for me. So that, again, that's my one of my weak points. And like I said, communication. With communication, what you would want to do, you would maybe want to seek out a therapist, definitely a therapist. And I know going to seek therapy in our community, in the melanated community, is frowned upon. I don't need to go see therapy. I don't need to do this. You're wrong. That's where we go wrong. Therapy is definitely, needed. And like I said, it's something that shouldn't be frowned upon or talked about as, no, I don't need to go do this. That's for white people. Yeah. It's not. It's going to help you. So yeah, therapy would be something that I would maybe recommend for say myself. Like I said, 'cause I struggle with communication, learning how to not be afraid to communicate what's on your mind, how you feel. That way it doesn't lead to other issues. Because sometimes not communicating how you feel, what's on your mind, can lead to other problems, in which I've experienced firsthand. I'll tell you that. So you want to be able to just tell someone how you feel, what it is, not hold back, not worry about what they're feeling, how it may affect their feelings. It is what it is because you're speaking your truth for you. And then from there, you guys can be able to resolve it and go from there. Okay, so moving on from that to your strong points, your strengths. For me, one of my strengths would definitely be I can write pretty well. I was always a good writer. I could tell a good story. I can turn something so simple or make you want more engagement about just something that I wrote. So you want to identify, like I said, your strengths. But, a lot of times people, we get content with our strengths, thinking, there's nothing more that I can do. Oh, I got it under control. I don't need to worry about that. No, you need to continue working at your strengths to make sure they remain. Because, as for example, anything left unattended long enough will eventually start to fade away, and it'll start to maybe slightly become a weak point. Because you sat back and told yourself, oh, no, I'm good at that. I don't need to worry about that. I'm good at that. I don't need to. No, you need to continue working at that strength to make sure it remains a strength. But like I said, for me, I would continue writing, making sure I continue writing, reading, anything of that nature, just going to make sure that I'm still able to write well and communicate on paper well. Like I said, I communicate on paper well, writing well, but verbally, not a strong point for me. That's really one of my weakest points. So always make sure you're still working at your strengths, making sure they remain, making sure they don't leave and become a weakness, a weak point rather. So you definitely want to keep that in mind as well. And the next topic would be, do you give up on things easily and why? And I say that because for me, I've noticed around my peers and just maybe other adults that I watched and grew up around or that were around me, definitely mostly my peers, I notice how people can give up so easily after, they've had one rejection. They've been rejected one time. They don't want to try it again. For some people, they aren't built up inside strong enough. And I'm not trying to put anybody down for that, because that's something that you're going to have to work on, building up your inside. So that way, once that rejection comes around, you know how to handle it. It's not breaking you down. It's not putting you in a shell where you want to curl up in a fetal position. You don't want to do that. A lot of people, like I said, just give up after the first no. They're gone. They don't want to do it again. Rejection, they don't want to do it again. There were many times that I faced rejection when I wanted to do modeling when I was in my early 20s. And my aunt helped me with that. She would take me to auditions. She would take me to a different state. I've been to Florida for auditions. I've been to Atlanta. I've done some stuff in Virginia, Illinois, where I pursued. And, I got told no a lot. I got rejected a lot. And it did hurt. Sure, it definitely hurt. Nothing is like being told no. Especially when all your life you've heard, you should model, you should do this, you should do that. You would be good at modeling, try this out. It's a bit different when you're doing it. And being a Black woman, it's definitely a bit more difficult. Still is to this day. I don't care what people say. Modeling is still difficult for the melanated man, woman, or child. Anything is always going to be maybe a little bit more harder for us than other cultures, I would say. I don't care what anybody says. Even if it's the slightest of things. So that took a toll on me, but I was raised to just, okay, I'm told no once, okay, maybe twice, 3 times, 4 times, maybe 50 times. Oh well. I'm going to keep getting back up and doing it again until I hear one yes. I don't care if you've been told no 1,000 times. That one yes could be a big break. So you find yourself giving up easy. You need to ask yourself why. Like I said, do you fear just being told no that one time, and you want to go back and being possibly told no again and no again and no again? You need to work on your inside with that. Figure out why. Why does it affect you emotionally, or why does it tear you down so much where you just feel like after one no, it's over with. You want to give up. You don't want to do it no more. I don't want to do it no more. That's not how life goes. That is not how life goes, y'all. And to give an example, look at Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry was homeless, living in his car, kept doing it, kept trying, and look at him now. I believe he's a multi-millionaire, maybe billionaire, whatever it is. He's doing great, he's doing successful, and he's able to help other actors, a lot of Black actors, fulfill their dreams and, fulfill their dreams and, what is that word I'm trying to say? Fulfill their dreams and help their careers climb up the ladder within their careers. That's what I was trying to get at. My mind is so foggy right now, y'all. Excuse me. But yeah, you don't, like I said, you don't want to just give up and continue to give up. Like I said, especially if it's something that you love and you're passionate about. It's like they say, nothing comes easy. Nothing comes easy. And I'll give another example. It took me a while to get up and do this for Truly Being. I mean, I had known this was something I was supposed to do, but I was a little bit afraid. And I'm just like, okay, God, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? So sometimes we can be, hard on ourselves and not just give ourselves the chance to continue because, like I said, we're worried about getting beat down. You need to build yourself up, and you need to build yourself up. This can't come from anybody else. You have to take initiative to build yourself up. That way, when you face rejection, it's nothing. It's like, okay, whatever. The next opportunity is mine. You want to have that type of mindset. So yeah, y'all. So we're leading to the next subject. I would say, what do you guys want out of life? You need to figure out, what do you want out of life? What are your dreams, goals, aspirations? And from there, once you're figuring out what you want out of life, gather that. What do you want out of life? Where do you see yourself? What do you see yourself doing? Whatever that may be. Acting, being a doctor, being a nurse, a firefighter, police officer, lawyer, esthetician, designer, model, whatever it may be. You need to ask yourself, what do I want in life? What do I want? What do I want to be? What are my dreams? What are my goals? What do I aspire to be? And sometimes we have more than one thing, and that's fine. And you'll just have to learn balance within that. Maybe work one thing here, and slowly begin to proceed to work at another thing slowly. Give yourself some time, room to grow within one thing first, maybe, before moving on to the next thing rather. Or kind of do both at the same time. But you need to figure out what you want out of life. And like I said, with the steps that I explained in part 1, getting to know yourself, spending time with yourself, trying new things, that should definitely help you know exactly what you want out of life. And maybe a little bit about what are your dreams, what are your goals, what do you aspire to be. And once you get that down, your next step is to, okay, what are the steps I need to take to make that happen? Say, for instance, you want to be a lawyer. You're going to have to go to school. You're going to have to go to law school. There's going to be a lot of schooling and a lot of homework and some hard work. Being a lawyer is not easy. I don't know if y'all watched that show, How to Get Away with Murder, but being a lawyer is not easy. That is not an easy task. I couldn't imagine doing all that, having to deal with people in cases you don't know whether they're lying and they did it or not, and you're a prosecuting attorney or whatever the other case may be. That's a lot. So like I said, once you get that down pat and figure out what you want, like I said, your dreams, your goals, your aspirations, you need to be looking at the steps I need to take to make it happen. Go to school. Like I said, you want to be a lawyer, go to school. However long that takes. Are you going to have to take out loans? You got to think about that too. Grants, whatever it may be, you're going to have to figure out what steps you're going to have to take to reach that dream goal or whatever you aspire to be or do. And like I said, sometimes it's not easy. Like I said, you want to be a fashion designer. See, but that's a little bit more, I would say a little bit more easier than becoming a lawyer. That's just my opinion. Not saying it's true or that it's a fact or anything like that. That's just my opinion. Because with fashion designer, you can be self-taught. You don't have to go to a fashion school. You literally get a sewing machine, watch a few videos, teach yourself, practice, do some projects. With practice makes perfect. Next thing you know, you're a designer. You making dresses, and you can start selling your stuff, promoting your stuff online, and that's the good thing about social media with that. So that may be a little bit more easier, like I say, than pursuing being a doctor, a lawyer, or say a police officer or anything in the educational field, something like that of that nature. Like I said, you need to figure out what steps you need to take in order to achieve that. And are you willing to do that? A lot of times you gotta be real with yourself. You gotta sit down with yourself and ask yourself, okay, I wanna do this, but am I willing to put in that work, make the sacrifices to become that? A lot of people don't talk about the work you have to put in and the sacrifices you have to make in certain things to make certain things happen. That means not hanging out with your friends, not talking on the phone, kicking and hanging out, whatever else you may do, lollygagging with your boyfriend, girlfriend, getting distracted, because love will distract you, friends will distract you, family will distract you too. Anything is a distraction. So you got to be real with yourself. You got to ask yourself, how bad do I want this? Do I want it bad enough to make the sacrifices that I'm going to have to make? Am I willing to do that? Be real with yourself. That's the first thing. Be real with yourself. So yeah, that wraps that part up, guys. So the last thing would be, who am I? And like I said, with all the topics we went over today in part 2, and in the other session for part 1 with discovering self, who are you? The last thing in part 2 would be, who am I? We went over the steps. At this point, you should have a great idea of who I am. Who am I? Describing yourself, what you like to do, your strengths, your weaknesses. Do you give up easily? And if so, why? How to resolve it? At this point, you should have a great idea of who you are. So when someone asks you, who are you? Who am I? You can explain who you are, what I'm here to do, my purpose, for instance. Because at that point, discovering yourself and taking all those steps that I mentioned prior, you should have a good idea of the individual that you are, what maybe field you may need to want to be in within your career path, your dreams, your goals, what you aspire to do or be. You should have a great idea. At this point, there should be no reason why you cannot answer, who am I? So basically, just who am I? At that point, who are you? How do you describe yourself? You shouldn't have an issue with it. So yeah, I just want to do that part 2 for that, guys, for discovering self and who are you. And that about wraps that up for part 2. And I will probably see you guys for maybe a part 3 or just an extra bonus for this section, for this session. But other than that, guys, I will catch you guys in the next video.